Hey Virgo, this is your monthly tarot reading for October 2023 for Virgo sun or rising signs. So we are back to our regularly scheduled videos, which I am very happy to be caught up with and back on track with. So thank you guys for your patience last month. I do appreciate it with all the family stuff that was going on. So all right, we are taking a look at the overall month. So we're going to be taking a look at the beginning, middle, and end of the month for you. Also, any kind of prominent challenge that's coming through, any kind of advice that's coming through for that as well, for the month overall, and just dealing with that challenge as well. So these readings, out of the readings that I put out monthly, are definitely on the longer end. They end up being around the 15-ish minute mark. If you want shorter, sweeter little bites, you can check out the bi-weekly readings. Those are typically around 5-ish minutes long, around that amount. So here we are going to be taking a look at a overall view. So it takes us a little bit longer. Also, the astrological highlights video is out, so I won't really be getting into that on these videos, but I'm feeling that card there. We won't really be getting into that on these videos. But you can check that out so that you have an idea of what to, like, just to put this into context and to see, like, overall, like, how this fits into what's happening for the month. So I put those out in 2-week increments. So it's the first half of the month and then the second half of the month. So I thought that this deck would be very, apropos for this season that we're moving into. I can't believe that we're already here. So let's take a look at this reading overall. So we start out with the 6 of Swords, the Tower card, and then the 2 of Wands. Really interesting. You guys saw me shuffling. There's another sign that I already read that had all of these cards in a different order, which I think is just really interesting. And then we have the 8 of Swords as the challenge and the Ace of Pentacles coming up as the spiritual advice. So with these collective readings, I use the astrological houses, these cards that I have for astrological houses, to help us determine what lens we can put this through. So, like, what's the context for this? What area of life is this applicable to? And so here we're looking at the 5th house. Now, the 5th house is about your creativity. It is a pleasure having house. It is like pleasure, fun, sex, casual dating, I would say. In a way, but also can have to do with, like, your creativity in whatever way that is, whether you are creatively creating the design for the next, like, plane or jet or whatever, or whether you are an artist, whatever form of creativity comes through. Putting out content is also creative, right? Like, any of those ways. And then also kids. So whether you're a parent or whether it's just connected to that youthful kind of kid-like energy. So these are all the things that are associated with the 5th house. Honestly, the 5th house is, like, probably one of my favorite houses of all time. I just really love that house. Anyone who knows me totally understands why. So love that house. Also, these are collective readings. So as I have said before, if you want to understand what is happening specifically for you, the best way to do that is in a one-to-one reading. So you can check out down below in the description box how to book with me if you want to do that. But otherwise, these are collective readings. So I also get collective readings for, like, I watch a couple people for those, and you just got to know that, like, some months it's going to be your message and hit, and other months it's just not, because it's a collective reading. So really ask yourself whether it resonates. If it's not resonating with you, ask yourself, is it because I don't like the cards that are coming through, or is it because it really doesn't? And if it doesn't, cool, it's not your message. Go check out if this is your rising sign, check out your sun sign instead, right? So that all said, let's get into the month. So we start at the beginning of the month and we're looking at a move. Possibly for some of you. That came out strongly, didn't it? A move. So we're looking at a possible move for some of you, like an actual physical move to someplace that's actually not too far. Like, the thing with moves and the 6 of Swords is that it's not like you're moving to, like, another country or something like that, right? So it's maybe for some of you a shorter, like, space, like, move. It's maybe a couple states away or something like that. Who knows? So that's one thing. Also, the big piece that comes up with the Six of Swords is that this is really pointing to how, you know, you're moving on a certain kind of trajectory, right, in your life. You're moving forward, and people will sometimes move at slower and quicker paces, and some will be able to keep pace with you, and some may not be able to keep pace with you, and that's okay, right? And sometimes there can be this concern or feeling of like guilt or betrayal, or feeling like you're leaving people behind. I would encourage you to think about letting them be where they are at the pace that they're going. So some people might speed up and suddenly it's like, oh, here we are, like paced neck and neck again, and yay, we're traversing at the same pace again. That's awesome. And other times they have to be in a season where they're going a little bit more slowly before they can like really sprout. So this is to say, do not slow your pace, right? Just trust the process. There might be some concern or grief about that in the meantime, and that's okay. You know, there might be a feeling of like letting people just be like fade out, even like certain friendships, or, you know, people that you, neighbors or whatever it is, right? So there could be certain things like that, especially if you are moving, and that's all fine and good and okay. And just recognizing that it's okay. Like people will catch up if they're meant to catch up, you know, with where you're going. So, or they'll meet you in the same area if they're meant to, right? So then in the middle of the month, we have this Tower card moment. So, you know, like the Tower card, of course, most people are just like, oh, great. So I don't really want to see that. But the Tower card serves a purpose, right? It's there to say, hey, this foundation that you were building on is not so stable. It's not going to stand the test of time. It's not a structure that is going to withhold and like stand. And so certain parts of this, or all of this, needs to go back to the drawing board. It needs to be leveled down so that you can start fresh and clean and start from a totally new foundation and then build up. Perhaps you've been working towards certain things creatively, right? Or, you know, in the realms that I was talking about, like maybe even with like casual dating, for those of you who are casual dating, or, you know, in the realms of like sex and pleasure and fun and things like of that nature, or creativity, or with the kids, right? Whatever it is, like there's some kind of structure that is not going to be able to withstand the flows, the ups and the downs and the things that come with life. And so there is a going back to the drawing board and seeing, okay, like what can I do differently? And what can I allow to fall away from what I have been maybe even creating? Like perhaps like it's like you've been working on certain creative projects for so long, and you're like, man, I'd have to scrap like half of what I've done. And maybe you don't want to because it's like, but I put so much work into it, but it's necessary in order to really be able to spring forward with your creative process, right? And to really do it in a way that is going to be more sustainable long term, right? The time where, you know, the Tower card is not comfortable. Like I'm not going to say it's comfortable, but it's definitely more intense, more intensely experienced when we are resistant to it and we're trying to hold on to things being a certain way, you know. And I'm not saying with that if you see things kind of like falling off, that you just go, oh well, screw it, it's just like going. Really assess that, like use your, like we need to use our intelligence when we are assessing these things. I think in the realm of like personal growth and spiritual communities, there could be a tendency to just like all or nothing with a lot of things. And so like, let's use our intelligence, let's be present, let's assess things in an intelligent way, right? So there may be things where you realize like, man, I've really been fighting against this, and I think I need to let this entire project go, or I need to, you know, whatever it is, right? So that is coming through in the middle of the month. And then at the end of the month, we have the Two of Wands showing up, and it's like, okay, great, now things have been cleared, right? You've moved forward, things have been cleared, or you're moving forward, right? Like at least it's maybe starting at the beginning of the month, have like that energy is like starting through. Have this experience, come to the end third of the month, and you have this like experience where you are standing on the precipice. Like there is a whole open world before you. Like the world is your oyster. There's so many different possibilities. And the thing is that when we have a Tower card experience, there might be things that are cleared away that were tethering us to certain ideas, certain creative projects, right? To certain things or people that had maybe stopped us from being able to creatively see how we could move forward, or how we could now create our life in a different way, right? How we could creatively find solutions, or have these new ideas come through that really didn't have the space or room to in the structure that you were creating previously. So now you come to the end of this month and you have this opportunity to say, okay, like, look at all of the world. The world is even bigger than what I can see here. Like, what do I want to create? I got to choose a path. So you need to start like moving into this, like, which path do I want to go down now, right? Like, what do I want it to look like? Where do I want to go now with all of this opportunity available to me? And, you know, it makes sense that your challenge would be the Eight of Swords with that. You know, Eight of Swords really just showing that when the Eight of Swords shows up, it's kind of like, it comes through to say, hey, question your beliefs. Question the places that you see blockages. You know, where you see stop signs, question it. Where you see blockages, where you think that there isn't a pathway, there might be. And when you have these beliefs that stop you, question those, question your thoughts, all of it, right? This is a prison of your own making. There might be restrictions or that you have placed on yourself, like you might have backed yourself into a particular corner and trapped yourself in a prison of your own making, of your own limiting beliefs, of your own thoughts about whatever it is. It could be about your creative talents. It could be like you questioning whether you have the creative ability to create what it is that you want, for instance, right? It could be around, you know, casual dating. It could be around your sexual partners. It could be around sex. It could be around a lot of these different things. But whatever it is, there are thoughts and there are beliefs that come through that your universe, basically whoever you believe in, is basically saying, hey, question that. When you see a no, question whether that's actually so or not. Is that true? Do you absolutely know that that's true, right? Like, how can you step outside of what you believe to be so? When we take for granted what we think is just the way that it is, or we see blockages, sometimes we really got to step back and be like, oh, that's not a wall. I was just perceiving a wall there, right? So that is going to come up as a challenge as you're moving through this experience throughout this month. Again, we're moving into, you know, as soon as we enter October, we're like looking on the horizon and being like, oops, here we go. Eclipse season is beginning. And as we know, that's like, it ushers things in and it ushers things out. So there is this ebb and flow experience, which makes sense for the Tower card as well. So just knowing that, like, our beliefs, things that we thought to be so and solid, those things might be challenged, and we might need to question those things and be open about that, you know, and just being like in a space of remembering that the universe has got your back. You have opportunities on the horizon for you. Just remember that there are ample opportunities in the world. There are enough coins for all, and there's certainly enough for you. And whatever it is that you're wanting to create, whether that is wanting to create a relationship, whether that's wanting to have a fulfilling sex life, whether that's dealing with your children and being a parent and like wanting to, you know, deal with all of the things that come with parenthood, or whether that's creative projects and all of these kinds of things that we're talking about, right? But there are opportunities on the horizon, and just remembering and trusting that there is plenty for all, that there is definitely plenty for you, and that the universe is like, hey, I'm showing you opportunities. Like, there are opportunities through any of the places that you feel like you are experiencing any kind of like loss, or things are being swept away, or whatever it is. There are opportunities that are abound. And I really like how there's that being mirrored here in this experience. So, you know, definitely I would say look at the astrological highlights so that you have some understanding of like the flow of how things are going. And so that might help you put this all into context as you're moving through the flow of this month, to understand how you want to bring this all together, what kind of actions you want to take, and how you want to approach things. So if this was a helpful video, if you got any insight from it, please give the video a like. It does help me as I'm building the channel. It helps me with the algorithm gods like a lot. And if you haven't subscribed already, why not do that and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of these videos on the horizon, or any of the ones that I have planned. I have some cool new ones that are on the horizon that are planned. I might get them out in the next couple months, but it might take me a little bit longer than that. Anyway, thanks for your time. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.